I feel like I'm the last person in the book community to have finally finished reading The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. But I'm sure I'm not the only one who has not read this before, so let's get into it. This is about 311 pages, roughly, and I do have to say, yes, there have been film adaptations of it. I think there might be multiple. I know of one for sure. I have not seen it. Of course, I have seen the Hulu series. Well, most of the series. I kind of gave up on it after a while. It kind of got a little same old, same old. But, if you have seen an adaptation, I'm going to say that that's just like No Country for Old Men. Yeah, some of the events kind of are very similar to the adaptations to the book. But I'm going to say you're definitely going to want to pick up and read the book because there's a little bit extra stuff. I found stuff in here that just did not happen in the Hulu adaptation, the Hulu series. Like, for instance, there's a Souls and Scrolls, I think it was called. It was some like little business where the families would put in prayers and the prayers would be recited over like a system. It was kind of weird, but maybe that's why they cut that out. But very much, I feel like this is one of those stories, one of those books, much like Lord of the Flies, like The Outsiders and To Kill a Mockingbird and all that. I feel like this needs to be required reading. I think this is definitely something that should be a part of an English lit curriculum in high school. Just because of the radicalization of Christianity, I feel like with Roe v. Wade currently going on now, I feel like that this is something that I think future generations and people definitely need to be aware of the potential of Christian radicals, much like the Taliban, Like the Taliban is kind of rampaging around the Middle East currently, and they are radicals. They are far-right extremists, and yeah, don't think that just because it's the U.S. it can't happen here. I mean, look at what's going on today. But I want to say that we meet this character of Offred. We never really learn her real name. She tells us like what it's like to not even be in charge of your own body. He's someone who has an education, someone who is very intelligent, who is kind of independent. I noticed that Margaret Atwood kind of made the character of Offred one of these people who I felt like she was kind of skirting the boundaries of the social norms because she was dating a guy who was not married to her and he was currently married to someone else but separated. And just stuff like that. And she talks about like her one friend Maura being a lesbian, and they talk about gays, and they talk about other religious factions that don't agree with the current system of Gilead. So all these things like kind of were really interesting. But there were some points where I was like, we get the idea of what the society is like and how fucked up it is at times. And but at the same time, there was a part of the story where she's reminiscing about the past and talking about flashbacks of her friend Maura, and she kind of goes into this one part where she's like, this may have happened, and it was all just speculation because you gotta think this lady, she has no control of where she's going. She can't leave the house. She can't go out. She can't just talk to people and be like, oh yeah, have you heard from Maura? And a lot of times people won't even know who that is because they all go by these patronymic kind of names, like they belong to this head of the household kind of deal. Like Fred was her keeper, and there was Off Glen and all of that. So like that one part, there wasn't really any consistency with that. I thought that was kind of weird because she says, this may have happened. So like it was kind of like, but then later she would run into this character, but they played it off as though the events that she said may have happened really did happen. So I found the inconsistencies with that to be kind of something to take into consideration. I noticed at the very end of the book, it kind of like she tries to fix that inconsistencies, I think, by trying to play it off as like this was recordings that they were salvaged from this historical event, and it's a professor giving a lecture to a class about this time period of when Gilead was in existence. I thought that was a nice little kind of fix-all to try to fix those inconsistencies, but it's still kind of, it didn't feel like it was 100% like into telling the story like it should have been. I did really enjoy this. I do think it's something that everyone needs to read. This is a classic. I'm going to check out The Testaments, I think is what the second book is called. I know it was written very far from when this was done, but I did think this was very interesting. The conservatism and the ideology about sex and just their ideas that were all like Bible based and stuff like that was kind of interesting, because I could really see people acting and behaving like that today and trying to pull this off today. So yes, very, very strong kind of dystopian, post-apocalyptic, I guess you could say, because they do kind of subtly hint at there having been nuclear wars and stuff having happened. That's why there's like deformed children and some people just can't reproduce. And so yeah, I mean, with all that stuff, and there's like a lot of like feminist stuff going on, I found it to be a really strong read. I gave it a 4 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. It is, like I said, it is something you definitely need to go read. I feel like everybody else in the book community has read this, and I'm like the last one to the party, because like, I read the graphic novel adaptation, which was kind of different than this. I mean, it's told the same similar story, but like it kind of left out some of the deep thoughts that Offred was going through in her mind that just don't come across. They don't translate well, I guess you could say, into a film or televised adaptation or a graphic novelization. They just couldn't be translated, I guess, in those regards. But if you have not read this and you're looking to check it out, of course, as always, for you folks in the US, I will have a link to Amazon down below. If you got something from watching this video, please help support my channel by donating to my coffee. And if you want to see more book reviews and book recommendations, by all means, hit that subscriber button. And while you're there, hit that notification bell so you're well aware of when I upload again. This has been The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Definitely, I don't know when I'm going to get to the second book to this. I do plan on checking it out. I should probably check it out before I forget the events of this book, so that way while it's still fresh in my mind, I can jump right into the sequel and see, how they relate and all that. But yeah, I found this to be a really strong book. It says on the back that it's supposed to be scathing satire. I don't really recall which parts were supposed to be satire. Maybe I just kind of overlooked them because, I mean, with the climate, the political, socio-political climate of today, I mean, maybe I just didn't see this satire in it. I don't know. But yeah, it's worth reading. You should definitely check this one out. Till next time, this has been Dan. Later.